Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated to the complete recovery of Masha Bas Batsheva. For any fans of baseball out there, America's favorite pastime, we all know the job of the catcher behind home plate, right? We've all tried it at some point and we realized, yowzers, this is not a comfortable position. But besides for the physical challenges, one of the ways that the catcher, they stand out is this ability they have to frame the pitch. What is framing the pitch? That means the catcher is able to take a pitch that is out of the strike zone and very subtly make it look and frame it so that it looks like it was a good pitch, so that the umpire who's standing behind thinks it was a strike. And the really good ones stand out in their ability to frame a pitch. This week's Torah portion, we have a doubleheader, Matot and Massei. And in Massei, God tells Moshe to list all the places that the Jewish people stopped in the wilderness. The Jews are now standing, about to enter the land of Israel. They're on the banks of the Jordan. And Moshe then goes and lists all the places that the Jews camped over the 40 years in the wilderness. 42 places they camped. Why? The Torah is not a travel log, so why list all these places and what took place there and so on? And the Medrash gives the analogy of a king who takes his son for medical treatment, and then on the way home after his son is healed, the king is pointing out to his child all the places that they stopped, that they rested at, and what took place there. You remember we stopped here for the night and you weren't feeling good? Remember under this tree is where you had a headache? What's the idea? The Medrash says that God wanted Moses to point out all the places, all the challenges that the Jews went through in the wilderness. In this place we camped, and this is where we messed up with this. In this place we camped, and we messed up with that. And point out all the different challenges they went through over the 40 years. But why? Why relive all that trauma? Why dig up all those negative experiences? We're now about to enter the land of Israel. Let's focus on the positive. There's this idea in Hasidic thought, beautiful idea, which is the idea of the springboard, that every challenge that we go through is not to pull us down, is not to stop us. It's to take us higher than we were before. Similar to a trampoline, right? When you jump down on a trampoline, that downward motion propels you up even higher. The higher you jump from, the more momentum you have, the higher you're going to spring up. When we face a challenge, the bigger the challenge, the greater the challenge, the higher it propels us. The problem is that when we're going through the challenge, it's very hard to see it that way. You know, when you get to the other side, and you have a resolution, and you can see why you had to be fired, or why you moved, or why this had to happen, or why this relationship didn't work out, and you can see months down the line how it all worked out. Yeah, you could look back and realize. But when you're going through it over those days, weeks, months, sometimes years, it's very hard to see how this is anything positive, how this is taking me anywhere higher. And that's why it's so important that when you do get to the other side of the challenge, that you look back. You know, hindsight's 20/20. To look back and reframe your experience. To reframe the challenge that you went through and realize why you went through it. And the reason why that's important is because there's going to be more challenges in life. And by reframing your past challenges, you now have the tools. You'll be better equipped to face the coming challenges. So that when the next challenge comes along, you'll be in a better place to frame it in the proper way. It's not going to be easy. It's not just going to happen overnight. But over time and experience, this is what happened. And this is what God wanted from Moses. Not to bring down the Jewish people, but by listing all their challenges that they went through, to tell them, this is what brought you to the land of Israel. You see where you're standing right now, about to enter the land of Israel? All your experiences over the past 40 years, that's what brought you to this moment. God wanted them to reframe their experiences, not as negatives, but as steps in the journey to bring them to the promised land. To be a good catcher, to be a good framer, just like being a good catcher, it takes a lot of practice. It's a lot of work. But it's so important for us to do is that to look back at our own past challenges and to reframe them. Reframe them how this was a positive thing. Now, some are going to be easier than others. Some challenges have a very clear resolution where you can just say, yes, I know why this happened. It's very clear cut. But some don't always have such a clear resolution. And that's where being a really good framer is really important. To be able to take a pitch all the way out of the strike zone and make it look like it was in the strike zone. To take a challenge that doesn't have such a clear answer or resolution, and still find how this was a positive lesson in some aspect of your life. And then we will be so better equipped. It's such an important tool to have going forward, to realize that what brought me to this moment is everything I went through up until. Shabbat Shalom.